Looking back into the pages of history, we can find a number of different characters who were quite unique and one of a kind. Today we are going to talk about one of such characters, so welcome to our YouTube channel Itihas, where we talk about history and interesting events of the past. King Rana Bahadur Shah was quite a unique character. As the unification campaign initiated by King Prithvi Narayan Shah was passed down from generations to generations in the Shah dynasty, it finally landed into the generation of King Rana Bahadur Shah. King Rana Bahadur Shah was the son of King Pratap Singh Shah and was born on 25th May 1775 and was crowned as the King of Nepal on 17th November 1777. His regency was held by Queen Mother Rajendra Lakshmi for 8 years and Uncle Bahadur Shah for 9 years. In mid-April 1794, Rana Bahadur Shah took the power of the government into his own hands. By overthrowing his regent Bahadur Shah, Rana Bahadur Shah began to rule personally at the age of 20. He had 3 wives, Rajrajeshwari Devi, Suvarnaprabha, and Kantamati. In mid-1795, he became infatuated with the Maithili Brahmin widow Kantavati Jha and married her on the oath of making their illegitimate half-caste son the heir to the throne by excluding the legitimate heir from his previous marriage. By 1797, his relationship with his uncle, who was living a retired life and who wanted to seek refuge in China on the pretext of meeting the new emperor, had deteriorated to extent that he ordered his imprisonment and subsequent murder. Such acts earned Rana Bahadur Shah notoriety among courtiers and common people, especially the Brahmins. Later on, he married Chandravati, the younger sister of Kantamati, in 1804, and again another one called Tripura Sundari Devi. Rajrajeshwari had no child. The second wife, Suvarnaprabha, had a son called Renunciation Shah. Prince Renunciation Shah was the eldest son, but he was not made the king of Nepal. Rana Bahadur Shah discarded both of his wives in favor of Kantamati, the daughter of Tirth Brahman, who possessed uncommon beauty. In 1797, she also gave birth to a son named Girvan Yuddha Bikram Shah on 8 March 1797. The same year, Rana Bahadur Shah declared Girvan Yuddha Bikram Shah as his heir to throne, setting aside the rightful claim of his firstborn son, Renunciation Shah. In this task, he had taken the help of King of Palpa. However, within a year of Girvan's birth, Kantavati contracted tuberculosis, and it was advised by physicians that she perform ascetic penances to cure herself. To make sure that Girvan succeeded to the throne while Kantavati was still alive, Rana Bahadur Shah, aged just 23, abdicated in favor of their son on 23rd March 1799, placing his first wife, Rajrajeshwari, as the regent. He joined his ailing wife, Kantavati, and his second wife, Suvarnaprabha, in ascetic life and started to live in Deopatan, donning saffron robes and titling himself as Swami Nirgunanda. This move was also supported by all his courtiers who were discontented of his wanton and capricious behavior. It was around this time that both Bhimsen Thapa and his father Amar Singh Thapa were promoted from Subedar to the rank of Sardar, and Bhimsen Thapa began to serve as the ex-king's chief bodyguard. However, Rana Bahadur Shah's renunciation lasted only a few months. After the inevitable death of Kantavati, Rana Bahadur Shah suffered a mental breakdown, during which he lashed out by diserecting temples and cruelly punishing the attendant physicians and astrologers. He then renounced his ascetic life and attempted to reassert his royal authority. This led to a direct conflict with almost all the courtiers who had pledged a holy oath of allegiance to the legitimate king Girvan. This conflict eventually led to the establishment of a dual government and to an imminent civil war, with Damodar Pandey leading the military force against the dissenting ex-king and his group. Since most of the military officers had sided with the courtiers, Rana Bahadur Shah realized that his authority could not be re-established, and he was forced to flee to the British-controlled city of Varanasi in May 1800. As Rana Bahadur Shah's bodyguard and advisor, Bhimsen Thapa also accompanied him to Varanasi. Rana Bahadur Shah's retinue included his first wife, Rajeshwari, while his second wife Suvarnaprabha stayed back in Kathmandu to serve as the regent. Since Rana Bahadur was willing to do anything to regain his power and punish those who had forced him to exile, he served as a focal point of dissenting factions in Varanasi. He first sought help from the British, in exchange for which he was willing to concede a trading post in Kathmandu and grant them certain percentage of tax revenue. However, the British were in favor of working with the existing government in Nepal rather than risk the uncertainties of restoring an exiled ex-king to power. The Kathmandu Darbar was willing to appease the British and agreed to sign a commercial treaty so long as the Wayard Rana Bahadur Shah and his group were held in India under strict British surveillance. This arrangement was kept a secret from Rana Bahadur Shah and his group, but when they eventually became aware of the strictures on their movement and hence the treaty, they were incensed at the British as well as the proponents of this treaty in Nepal. An elaborate intrigue was set in motion with the aim of splitting the unity of courtiers in Kathmandu Darbar and fomenting anti-British feelings. A flurry of letters were exchanged between the ex-king and individual courtiers in which he tried to set them up against Damodar Pandey and tried to woo them by promises of high government positions which they would hold for their entire lives and which would be inherited by their progeny. Meanwhile, Rajeshwari, fed up of her debauched husband, left Varanasi, entered the border of Nepal on 26 July 1801 and taking advantage of a weak regency was slowly making her way towards Kathmandu with the view of taking over the regency. Back in Kathmandu, the court politics turned complicated when Mulkaji Kritiman Singh Basnet, a favorite of Regent Subarnaprabha, was secretly assassinated on 28 September 1801 by the supporters of Rajeshwari. In the resulting confusion, many courtiers were jailed while some executed based solely on rumors. Akhtabar Singh Basnet, the brother of assassinated Kritiman Singh, was then given the post of Mulkaji. During his tenure as the Mulkaji on 28 October 1801, a treaty of commerce and alliance was finally signed between Nepal and East India Company that led to the establishment of the first British resident, Captain William Knox, who was reluctantly welcomed by the courtiers in Kathmandu on 16 April 1802. The primary objective of William Knox's mission was to bring the Trade Treaty of 1792 into full effect and establish a controlling influence in Nepali politics. Almost 8 months after the establishment of the regency, Rajeshwari finally managed to assume the regency on 17 December 1802. After Rajeshwari took over the regency, she was pressured by Knox to pay the annual pension of 82,000 rupees to the ex-king as per the obligations of the treaty, which paid off the vast debt that Rana Bahadur Shah had accumulated in Varanasi due to his spendthrift habits. The Nepalese court also felt it prudent to keep Rana Bahadur Shah in isolation in Nepal itself rather than in British-controlled India, and that paying off Rana Bahadur's debt could facilitate his return to an opportune moment. Rajeshwari's presence in Kathmandu also stirred unrest among the courtiers that aligned themselves around her and Subarnaprabha. Sensing an imminent hostility, Knox aligned himself with Subarnaprabha and attempted to interfere with the internal politics of Nepal. Getting a wind of this matter, Rajeshwari dissolved the government and elected new ministers with Damodar Pandey as the Mulkaji, while the resident Knox, finding himself persona non grata on the objectives of his mission, frustrated, voluntarily left Kathmandu to reside in Makwanpur, citing a cholera epidemic. Subarnaprabha and the members of her factions were arrested. Such open display of anti-British feelings and humiliation prompted the Governor-General of that time, Richard Wesley, to recall Knox to India and unilaterally suspend the diplomatic ties. The Treaty of 1801 was also unilaterally annulled by the British on 24 January 1804. The suspension of the diplomatic ties also gave the Governor-General a pretext to allow the ex-king Rana Bahadur Shah to return to Nepal unconditionally. As soon as they received the news, Rana Bahadur Shah and his groups proceeded towards Kathmandu. Some troops were sent to Kathmandu Darbar to check their progress, but the troops changed their allegiance when they came face to face with the ex-king. Damodar Pandey and his men were arrested at Thankot, where they were waiting to greet the ex-king with the state honors and take him into isolation. After Rana Bahadur Shah's reinstatement to power, he started to extract vengeance on those who had tried to keep him in exile. On April 25, 1806, he was beheaded by his half-brother Sher Bahadur Shah. Rana Bahadur's death was followed by Bandar Khal's massacre. As Rana Bahadur Shah grew older, he became more cruel and violent. His faithful wife Raj Rajeshwari was driven away to Helambu instead of rewarding her for her services to him. The Britta of the Brahmins were confiscated in 1862 BS, which is known as Basati Haran. In the meantime, an epidemic of smallpox broke out. Acting on his whims, he drove out of the town all the children who were not vaccinated. The courtiers grew discontented with him and his violent and whimsical acts and started hatching a plot against him. But Sher Bahadur Shah refused to obey his orders. So Rana Bahadur Shah ordered for his imprisonment. Then in Baisakh 1863 BS, Sher Bahadur Shah, the king's brother, at one stroke of his sword dispatched Rana Bahadur Shah. Sher Bahadur, however, was killed by Kaji Balnar Singh, the bodyguard of the king. The reign of Rana Bahadur Shah was full of events and various uncommon activities. King Rana Bahadur Shah is still remembered in the villages and remote areas, and is believed that the coin of Rana Bahadur Shah relieves the labor of pain of lady, and the baby is born if the mother is given the water in which the coin of Rana Bahadur's reign is dropped. Well, that is all about King Rana Bahadur Shah, and I guess we all do agree to the fact that he was quite a psychopath and a weird king. Well, that is all about today's topic. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you guys found it interesting. Well, do subscribe to our channel if you haven't done it yet, and have a good day. Thank you.